Welcome to 7 Minute Cinema. Summaries in 7 minutes or less. Today we're recapping Season 3 of Money Heist, so pull on those dolly masks because our timer begins now. Season 3 starts up a few years after the end of the successful robbery of the Royal Mint of Spain. After escaping with their millions, the gang splits off into pairs and spreads out across the globe. Denver and Monica raise their son in Indonesia, Nairobi and Helsinki get plastered in Argentina, the Professor and Raquel end up in Thailand, and Tokyo and Rio live on an archipelago off the coast of Panama. And everybody's favorite hostage, Arturo, is alive and well. In fact, he's now a celebrity. But don't worry, he's still the worst. More on him later. In typical Tokyo fashion, she decides that her life on Paradise Island with no problems, millions of dollars, and a young, handsome, doting lover is too boring. So against the strict rules set by the professor to stay together, Tokyo leaves Rio and enjoys a few nights of partying, one-night stands, and recreational drug use. But 3 days after she leaves, Rio calls her on a black market phone that, inconveniently for him, but conveniently for Season 3's plotline, has been tapped by Europol. Rio is quickly captured and tortured by a pregnant chick who enjoys her job just a little too much. Tokyo quickly realizes that she done effed up, and follows emergency protocol to reconnect with the professor. And just a short time later, the gang gets back together. After a rousing motivational speech, they decide they're going to save Rio. How? By robbing the Bank of Spain. Which, through a series of flashbacks, we learn was actually Berlin's original idea for a heist, before they decided to rob the mint instead. We also meet some new additions to the gang. Palermo, our boom boom chow commander, who is heartbroken over Berlin's death, Bogota, our strong silent type with a thing for Nairobi, and Marseille, who loves animals more than people. As our new heist begins, our professor hijacks all of Spain's video screens and publicly announces his plan to rob the Bank of Spain. Just as the professor has planned, the government quickly mobilizes the army to defend it. As this happens, the gang drops millions of dollars from airships, winning the support of the people, causing chaos in the streets, and adding littering to their growing list of crimes. With a newly purchased fleet of military vehicles, the gang pretends to be the military unit assigned to defending the Bank of Spain, and they drive right in. Once again, the professor supports them from afar, now with the help of some IT-savvy Pakistanis, and also Raquel, who is now known as Lisbon. Once inside the bank, the gang spends quality time with their new hostages, while Nairobi and Tokyo beat up some guards and try to capture the governor of the bank. But the frail old man gives them the slip, and one of the bodyguards, Gandia, blinds Palermo in one eye during a shootout, so Palermo gets to play pirate for the rest of the season. Meanwhile, below the bank, Bogota breaks into the vault with the gold. As soon as the vault is tampered with, it begins filling with water, giving them only a few minutes before it floods. Bogota and his team weld a large tube in between the chambers, sealing off the water pressure, creating a passageway into the vault, and winning the gold medal in underwater welding. The gang begins melting down the gold into little BBs, but their plan to get the gold out isn't revealed yet. Back upstairs, the governor and his bodyguards are eventually captured. The governor is brought down to the vault to open up a secret door with a password that only he knows, but when he refuses, Denver overreacts, a recurring theme for Denver this season, and nearly kills the old man. So much for getting into the vault the easy way. No worries, they brought explosives. Problem solved. Hello, mysterious red boxes. Around this time, the government, led by Colonel Tamayo and our pregnant torturer Alicia Sierra, launches the first assault on our friendly band of thieves. But before the assault forces can enter, Denver rushes out and throws one of our mysterious red boxes at them. We quickly learn that the boxes contain state secrets. Tamayo realizes that they can't risk these secrets being released and calls off the initial attack. But Sierra thinks fast and suggests they release fake information to the media, so that if the professor were to release the real information, nobody could tell which secrets were real and which were fake. Meanwhile, the professor and Raquel's RV/mobile command station breaks an antenna and gets stuck in the mud. But thanks to some neighborly simple folk, they free themselves, fix their antenna, and learn about the government's plan to attempt a second breach on the bank just in time to warn the team. With their advanced warning, our gang not only survives the breach, but captures the team and then humiliates them by making them sing the ultra-catchy Bella Ciao while half naked. In exchange for the breaching team and an additional 40 hostages, Tamayo and Sierra release Rio and allow him to rejoin the gang inside the bank. But not before he's bugged with a GPS tracker and mic. But don't worry, the professor expected this eventuality and will use it to his advantage later. I would really hate to play rock, paper, scissors with this guy. We see a touching moment between Tokyo and Rio as they finally reunite, but instead of a happy reunion, Rio unexpectedly breaks up with Tokyo. Probably something to do with her leaving him on an island in pursuit of drugs and casual sex, but what do I know? Tokyo reacts as reasonably as you would expect she would, by drinking herself into a drunken stupor in the middle of their heist. But the real highlight of this hostage exchange is when our old friend Arturo barges into the bank to become a hostage. Again. Meanwhile, a massive manhunt is organized to track down the professor and Raquel, who are spotted by a drone and must go into hiding. The professor climbs a tree and turns into a human chameleon, but Raquel says climbing is hard and finds herself a terrible hiding spot in a barn. To draw attention off the professor and Raquel, the gang fakes their escape from the bank by using Rio's mic and GPS tracker, which they've removed. They put on a theatrical performance, splashing around in some water, yelling about escaping, and then putting the GPS tracker into Mercedes' little ferret before sending it through some pipes. Let's all just take a moment to appreciate the most adorable member of the gang. I mean, just look at that little red hoodie. But the tides quickly turn on the gang. Sierra uses Nairobi's son to draw her to a window where Nairobi is shot in the chest, and while the gang scrambles to provide medical attention to a dying Nairobi, another assault begins. Back in the forest, Raquel is discovered. The professor listens in horror as he hears her execution over his headset. Angry and in shock over the loss of Raquel, he breaks his most important rule and gives the gang permission to use lethal force. Tokyo and Rio fire 2 RPGs at an oncoming armored car, bringing assault number 3 to an abrupt end. As the season ends, we discover that Raquel is actually alive, and that her death was faked to provoke the professor into using this lethal force. An ominous-sounding Tokyo warns us that the war has begun. Thanks for watching 7 Minute Cinema. We're here for you when your memory isn't. If you found this summary helpful or entertaining, please like and subscribe, and leave us a comment down below. And if you found this video to be a waste of time, well, at least it was only 7 minutes of your life. Stay healthy, stay sane, and keep watching.